Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Kingdom Silver here, and today it is a very big week, ladies and gentlemen, because it is the 2024 election in the States is happening on Tuesday, and on top of that there is a big Fed policy decision that is coming down on Thursday as well. So we are going to talk about that today, and I'm going to give you 3 things that are going to help you survive and even thrive in this next week and the weeks to come. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the rest of the video. Thank you so much for checking out the channel. I really appreciate the support. And if you haven't already, ladies and gentlemen, please smash that like button, comment, subscribe to the channel. Helps me, but also gets the word out about gold and silver. So this is an article that I found from FX Empire, and I think it's a pretty good one. We're not going to cover all of it, but it gives a nice high level of, what the election means for the gold price, and you can also extrapolate to that the silver price as well. And the article starts here at the top talking about the election is approaching. It's a tight race. And often that you see a lot of volatility leading up to the election and around the election as well. It goes down here talking about gold and, again, silver, even though not mentioned in this article as well, being a safe haven in these times. And it's something that we often see people flocking to. And we've seen that over the last month or so. Now, the article mentions that on October 31st here, gold had spiked right at this $2,790. We did have some corrections that we saw on Thursday and Friday of last week. So as of the time of this recording, gold is at $2,736 and silver is at $32.45. However, even with this pullback, with this correction, we have seen elevated levels. And going down here, there's this awesome little chart that I wanted to show, and I actually have it on another screen here. Let me switch to it. And it covers how gold has reacted during some pivotal moments in U.S. history. And I think it's really interesting. That's why I wanted to show it. It also shows down here the presidents that were in office, starting with Ronald Reagan, going through to Joe Biden, and then, November 2024, we don't know yet. So it's interesting to see the patterns. You really don't see the spike in gold start until the presidency of George W. Bush. You see it goes up here, and then here's, of course, the 2008 financial crisis. We see a little bit of a pullback and then just skyrocketing through that time. Now, as you can see here, this is a typo, ladies and gentlemen. 9/11 did not occur on 2011. It occurred in 2001. So that was definitely a typo on their part. However, you do see then under it, gold goes back down here. Stays pretty, steady for the most part. It starts to climb from 2018 to 2020. And then, of course, we know about all the activity that has happened here and with the wars in the Middle East really spiking gold. So feel free to pause the video or just look at this article, take a look at that chart. I find it really fascinating and really interesting. And the article goes down here covering the timeline more accurately. Then down here at the bottom of this article, it also talks about, what are the major drivers of what the gold prices were during Donald Trump's presidency, what the major drivers of gold prices were during Joe Biden's presidency. And then it also shows down here, based on the policies of the two presidential elects, what could gold do? And so the article at the end makes the assertion that they believe that if Kamala Harris were to get into the presidency, to be elected, that there might be a pullback in gold, at least in the short term, and because of more stable, they saying, the economic policies. And what I mean by that is not necessarily whether or not they're good or bad, but, similar policies as of what was under Joe Biden and Donald Trump. If he were to get into office, those could be, could cause more volatility in the gold and silver prices, because it would be a shift in the current policies that were under the Biden administration and moving into the Trump administration, again, if that were to occur. So while I don't necessarily agree that all of the conclusions that they came to in this article as far as why the policies of one candidate over another might be better or worse for gold and silver. I do think that it's a good article to look at, and I'm going to link this article in the description below. So I'm going to switch back over to this chart here. And as I do, I'm going to cover, just so that you can look at it a little bit longer, because I think it's a really cool chart. And then on top of that, I am going to give you the 3 tips to surviving and thriving this week during this very potential crazy volatility in the markets, in gold, in silver, and in our world in general. And so the first thing that I have is don't panic, right? Don't panic, regardless of what we see this week, regardless of who gets elected, if we know if they're elected, right? As we've seen with some elections, it can take a while to get the votes in, or whatever the market does. Don't panic. Don't allow fear to let you make unwise financial decisions. The second thing is stick to your plan. So whatever plan you had with gold and silver, right? Whatever your targets were to get in, to get out, to sell, to buy, or even just, as I know a lot of people do, just having a certain set of dollars set aside each month to buy gold and silver, right, to invest in it. Don't change your plan, right? Regardless of what you see, remember that the short-term volatility that you're going to see next week shouldn't influence the long-term outlook of gold or silver, which I believe, regardless of who is president, is still very, very bullish. Again, that's not investment advice. That's just my own personal opinion. And then the third thing that I would say is look for opportunities. And what I mean by that is, if you do believe in the long-term viability of gold and silver, and we see a very large correction or pullback next week due to economic uncertainty or, election uncertainty, you might want to pick up a little bit more gold and silver. Again, not investment advice, but for me personally, I'm going to be watching that next week. And if I see a big dip in the market, hashtag buy the dip, right? Again, not investment advice, but something that I'm going to be doing. So that'll do it for the video today, ladies and gentlemen. I wanted to keep this video as short as I possibly could. Last things that I will say in closing is please go out and vote. Your vote matters. And especially this week, be blessed and be a blessing to others. We'll see you later.